everybody, it's Kira. Welcome back to my channel. So today I have a haul for you guys. If you couldn't tell by the thumbnail, I have gotten a lot of books since I came to college, which is surprising because I'm a poor college student now and my bank account has severely declined in amounts, but that's mostly because I have tried some subscription boxes, which you have noticed if you've been watching my videos. You'll know that I've been doing some unboxings recently, and so I've been getting books from subscription services, which I'm probably gonna stop doing this month / next month because I just don't have the money for subscription boxes. But anyways, here are all of the books that I've gotten since I came to college. The first book I'm going to show you is Heart of Dread Frozen by Melissa De La Cruz and Michael Johnston. I got this book way back, probably the first week or two of school. They had, I don't even remember what it was called, but it was just this event where like they had free clothing and a couple of like some food stuff and other stuff that you need from the freshmen. And so I just kind of went and looked at stuff. I didn't find anything except for this book, which I thought looked interesting. And it looks like there is a sequel to it, but I have not read it yet. So I have no idea if this is good or not. If you've read it, let me know if it's worth my time. But the cover is really pretty, and it's like, oh, you can't really see it, but it's like rainbowy. Like, I mean, it's hard to tell, but the cover is pretty cool. So I think it would be neat. And like I said, I have no idea what this book is about. I'll read you the back. There's a tiny little thing on the back. Somewhere in a world ravaged by ice, there is a mythical paradise known only as the Blue. And for Natasha Kestal, persecuted, feared, and loathed, it may be the only place she has left to run. Yeah, I have this. I have not read it, but I'm excited to get to it eventually. And the other exception is a book that I don't have with me physically, but I have the dust jacket, and that is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. Now, this is a really cool story. So I got this from Jenna over at Jen the Librarian. She had a giveaway for having 1,000 subscribers, and I actually won the giveaway, which is super cool. So I got to pick a book off of Book Depository, and I picked Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. I really wanted the UK cover because the US cover is not as pretty, honestly, as this, because this cover is gorgeous. I don't know if you guys have seen this cover before, but like, it is beautiful. So this came in the mail, and I was super excited, and I actually read it for the Tome Topple Readathon, which you will have a vlog either coming or is already up. If it's up, I will link it down below. And it is amazing. It is so magical, and just, I don't even know how to describe it, because like part of the magic is just following the story. So I will try and explain at least. It's about this boy named Laszlo Strange who is a librarian, and he's invested all of his time and energy into finding this lost city called Weep, all he can find about it, and the name has actually been stolen. He's trying to figure out why and how this name could have been lost to history, and I don't want to say anything more than that because it gives away so much. So if you have not read Strange the Dreamer, go and read it. The reason I don't have the physical book is because I gave it to my friend Molly, who also is a really big reader, and I'm like, girl, you need to read this book, so I gave it to her. So that's why I don't have it. But yeah, it was seriously one of my favorite books that I've read this year. So next up, we have books from Book of the Month Book Club. I don't even remember how I found it, but there was a deal going on where you could get a 3-month subscription for $30, and you could get a free copy of Turtles All the Way Down by John Green if you signed up and put in this discount code. So I signed up because I needed to have this book, and I didn't know when I was going to be able to go out and get it for myself. So I've gotten this book, I read this book, I tabbed it up, I've talked about it in a wrap-up already, but it is so amazing. It's amazing in a very different way from Strange the Dreamer. This is just a very realistic novel, I feel. Its own voices, because it talks about OCD and anxiety, which are things that John Green struggles with. And it's about this girl named Aza. I feel like there's two main plots, and one of them is about this billionaire who goes missing, and Aza and her friend are trying to figure out where he went. But the other plot is really just about Aza's mental struggle and how she deals with her mental illness. And it's so cool. There's so many passages that I was really able to connect to. and there's so many places where I just could totally feel myself in this book. Even though I personally do not struggle from anxiety or OCD, I don't like people. I don't like being in social situations, and there were just a lot of quotes that I felt really connected to me. Even though I don't personally struggle with those things, I still was really able to connect to it. So that was the other amazing thing, is that like, even though I am blessed enough to not have a mental health problem, I can still connect to the characters in this book, and it was just so amazing. If you have not read this, go and read it. It is so cool. And the other books I got from Book of the Month, the first one is The Power by Naomi Alderman. This I started to read and I just couldn't get through it. It reminds me a lot of The Handmaid's Tale, which I did not like. So if you liked The Handmaid's Tale, you would probably like this. This is about a society in which women suddenly find they have this like electric power, and they can kill people if they want to, and the younger women can wake it up in older women. So there's this like power shift that's happening throughout the book, and I don't know, it just wasn't for me. I don't really know. I might try again. I got 88 pages in, so I mean, it's a small portion of the way in, but it just wasn't for me. I'm just not a huge fan of like super feminist novels like that. It's just not for me. I just don't really care, which sounds bad, but it's true. If you like The Handmaid's Tale though, you would definitely like this book. It was really interesting how the power was working. There's also a lot of main characters, so it was hard for me to keep track of who was who sometimes and who had what like backstory behind them too. So I think maybe I'll give it some time and then maybe try and dive into this again. And the other book I got from Book of the Month is Artemis by Andy Weir. So this is from the author of The Martian, which I read and super enjoyed. This is his newest book, and I don't really know what it's about. I think there's like a colony on the moon or something. I don't really know, but it was by Andy Weir, who I really enjoyed the first time I read him. So I'm excited to read this later. Next up will be my LitDroid Crate unboxings. I will link all of those down below. If you have not watched those or don't want spoilers or whatever, go watch those first. But anyways, the first book I have is Nyxia by Scott Rankin. If you watch Molly Reed's channel, she just did an interview with the author Scott Rankin, and they talked a tiny bit about how to pronounce his last name, which it's spelled weird, so like you wouldn't think that it's Rankin, like that's how it's spelled. So you wouldn't think that it's Rankin, but it's actually Rankin. But anyways, I did read this book and quite enjoyed it. I find it hard to describe what this is about though, without giving too much away. But basically this boy has a chance to win $1 million or something along those lines, and he would really help his mother, and so he goes on into space to fight for this $1 million or whatever. But not everything is as it seems. So it was really interesting, left on a cliffhanger, so I'm excited to read the next one when it comes out. And then the other LitDroid Crate book I have is The Last Name Sai by Kristen Cesario? Ooh, I don't know how to pronounce that, I'm sorry. But this is a book that has to do with dragons. It says, a forbidden love, a kingdom at war, a secret that will change everything. And like, I think this is about like a dragon slayer or something like that. I don't really know, but the cover is so gorgeous and I love it so much, and I cannot wait to read this. And this crate also came with How to Train Your Dragon, Complete Book of Dragons, A Guide to Dragon Species by Cressida Cowell. So it just has like illustrations of like different dragons throughout the book from the series How to Train Your Dragon, which I really enjoy. So I haven't actually read this yet, but I'm excited to get to it, and I have a feeling it will go well with the dragons in The Last Name Sai. And next up we have the Page Habit books. So the first one I have is Magician's Impossible by Brad Abraham. I have not read this yet, and I think that I don't even remember what it's about, to be honest, but it sounded interesting, and I like magicians and magic and stuff, so I'm excited to read this at some point. And this box also came with Labyrinth Lost by Zoraida Cordova. I'm really sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Which I'm not entirely sure that I will read this book, but it's interesting. I, again, don't really know what it's about, but I have it now, so I don't really know what I'm going to do with it yet, but I maybe will read it at some point. Next is A Plague of Giants by Kevin Hearn. This is the book that I'm actually currently reading, and it's really good so far. I started reading it for the Tometopper Readathon as well because it is 600 and some pages. So I am like 300 pages in, so I'm like halfway through it right now. It's really good. It's slightly confusing because there are a lot of main characters. But luckily there is a small index type thing in the front of the book that tells you who each character is. That's been really helpful. This is about this fantasy world, and there's some sort of war going on, and so you have like two plots. Again, you have like the main plot of the present time where this guy is telling the story. I don't really know how exactly it's going to continue in the present time, but in the past timeline you have like the build up to this war that's happening. Again, not quite sure. I'm making this sound super confusing, but it's really good. It's definitely a high fantasy book, but it's good, and I'm really enjoying it and intrigued to see where this will go. And this is the first book in a new series as well. And lastly, we have Haven by Mary Lindsay. This is a YA book, and it's a romance heavy book, so I'm not entirely sure that I will read this either. But this box also came with The Infinite Ground by Martin McInnes, which I have heard literally nothing about, and I have no idea what this is about. So I will have to look into both of these at some point in time. Quick addition here, my LitJoy Crate box got here for November, so I have another book to add to that, and that is Otherworld by Jason Segel and Kristen Miller. I don't know what this is about other than it's some sort of virtual reality thing, and it sounds really interesting, and also the cover has like this really cool material to it, and oh my goodness, I love it. So I just wanted to add that in really quickly. So that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you've read any of these books and want to talk about them, especially Turtles All the Way Down or Strange the Dreamer, please let me know down in the comments, and I would love to chat about those books. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!